Wow,
like that.
dude. So then when did you had the Van Diesel and then you saw these flyers for like Monster Track? Tell us a little bit about the first, few times you would go, because Monster Track's only once a year. Like, did you attend any other alley cats, or was it just Monster Track? And like,
First, when I really decided to go, I was kind of felt somewhat comfortable riding, and I think this was the year when there was the beginning was at Affinity. Say what? I forgot what year it was. So basically, this was my first year riding. When the start was at Affinity, and everybody rode to the plaza by Williamsburg Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And this was my first year, and I remember the first person just to like talk to me was Kyle.
Yeah.
Corpsefinger Thompson.
What's up?
What up, Kyle? And he was just like, "Oh, what up, man?" Just like, that's it. And then I came next year because I knew that race happening around that time once a year. So I didn't know anybody from the community or like scene. So I knew this race happens once a year. So then I came next year. And then Kyle was like, "Hey, what up, dude? It's you again.
Haven't seen
What
you
up,
in a
man?"
year.
Yeah, exactly. But he, for some reason, like he remembered me.
Yeah.
And then I came like next year again, just like one time a year.
Yeah.
And I would just go nuts in between just by myself.
Oh.
And that's it.
Just warming up.
Exactly. And then I knew that like, the race is coming around the time. Let me like ride a little extra. And that's how it was until I remember there was like a moment when there was the year I forgot. I think Alfred won that year, and I ran into Doug Peregrine, PPR Peregrine Falcons. Sorry, forgot the complete name. Doug, who moved to Cali.
You know who you are, Doug.
Doug.
You're
Doug
watching
P,
right now.
Doug Plantata. I hope I pronounced it right. So Doug was mad cool, and we he kind of like, I think he got 6 and I got 7 that year at Monster Track, and we kicked it for a little bit, and he sent me a couple other flyers for other races. I was like, word.
Oh, there's more than one.
I was like, there's other things. And he's like, I was like, and there's this coming, like this next week. And that, I was like, oh shit. I was like, there's so much stuff. Like I have to
That's why these guys are so fast.
Yeah, I was like, I have to keep like in shape to be able to come out to those races. I thought I'm just practicing for one race for a year. And then I remember I came out like, to like Summer Alley Cat, something else. And I think
Track or Die.
Exactly, yeah, Track or Die. And basically like Doug kind of like gave me a lot of like hits for races. And then I remembered some of those other smaller races I would meet Kyle, and Kyle was like, "Oh, what up?" Like like, "Oh,
you're here now?"
"Oh, you coming through." And so definitely, like Kyle, Doug on that, like, they were really like kind of introduced me to like different angles slightly.
Yeah.
It was just like in that moment,
The family grows.
yeah. And like where you when you meet people in races like that, like where you ride nuts through the city for
you
4
share,
hours,
like,
and
intense
intensity.
intensity.
Yeah, it's so intense, and let's say you kind of next to each other in those like half death situations. And then I feel like if you can kind of ping pong this energy between each other, it's like it feels crazy. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm pretty sure you know how it feels. And so and pretty much since then I kind of started coming out more frequently, and it came to a point where just like coming out, you gotta come out.
Yeah. Show up.
And I remember also like I would know Cooper, because I think like he won like one of the years I came, and I would bump into him on the street and I would be like, "Hey, what up, dude?" Cooper, there would be like mad stealth.
Yeah.
Zero emotion Cooper. And I remember like one time I ran into him. He's like, "Man, you gotta come out." I was like, "What did he mean by that?" I was like, "Come out where?" I was like I was like, yeah, come out. I gotta come out.
I'll be there, Cooper.
Yeah. And but like things like that, they kind of like influence you, because I know like it's something that looks so crazy, and just like seeing, for example, being in her first time in a race together with Chris, and just like seeing, for example, how he like pulls off, like, and just like, oh, Cooper, and I'm just like, how am I supposed to do that? Like, how does
Where
this
are they
work?
going?
Yeah, like, and like, how does acceleration work? Like, how did they just like disappear, and like blah blah blah, and but then over the years, you stick to that same movement, and you kind of just like, damn, I've been doing the same thing for years, but it turns into something.
Yeah. Practice.
Yeah.
Damn. So all this.
I hope I didn't get you lost in it.
No, man. I was just thinking about all the monster tracks that I've seen online over the years that I wasn't a part of, and those are probably all the ones that you were just mentioning.
Probably.
All the it's just from an outside perspective, it's always like shitty weather. I saw actually there's one or two where it looks like the sun's out and it's nice, but it's usually really gross.
Out of all of them, I think 2 were like dry.
Yeah. Everything
else was snow and rain.
Mm-hmm. And then when I started to like participate in the filming of people racing, two monster tracks ago, I followed around Cooper, as did half of the not half of the race, but a lot of people was just like kind of tagging with Cooper. So you were in the footage a lot of that monster track.
Yeah,
and I didn't know you yet. I was like, who is this guy? He's in the shot all the time. And then I met you at the after party or something right after that.
I think because I think at that point we had already a mutual connection through Dan.
That's right.
But we never met personally.
That's right.
But yeah, that year it was also like a turning like moment for me, because like, Cooper, I didn't plan to, because it just happened like this. But I happened to be within this like the top 5 pack.
Yeah.
And
well, once you're there and you have a gap, it's like, why would you split off?
Yeah, and definitely, just like this constant intensity and the like Cooper's knowledge of the city, and just
Cooper's
like
knowledge of Lower Manhattan is fucking.
I mean, insane. Yeah, it's like this is really like you have to like give props where it's like due. It was just like crazy to see, being like with it, and like no delay, knowing where to go, and like it's like crazy. So, and then also during that race, I think it's even in the trailer for that monster track year, where first actually I thought this was Jason actually riding with us, in a blue jacket. I was like, who is this guy? Which was Matthew Rucola from
I met
London.
Matt that year as well.
What up, mate?
What up, Matt, if you're watching?
And I didn't know he was, and like we bumped into each other like with shoulders, and like in this top 5 pack, and I didn't know who he was, and like Matt is like super like aggressive, and but right in that moment, he's like yo my bad, kind of like and it was like super smooth, and kind of like meeting in situations like that, after that we became like mad close friends with Matt, whenever he's in town, it's always great times. So it definitely like I'm very influenced by like moments like this in life, the way you meet people, and I feel it just happens off the bike like that, and like, but on the bike it's just like amplified on speed and intensity, and you happen to meet certain people in those like situations, like moments where like it sparks. It's interesting.
Atoms fly.
Exactly.
And then since we're on the topic, last year's Monster Track 2019,
the controversy
of 666. What was I going to say about that? You weren't in my footage at all that year. We took separate directions. I think you went south and I went north. I followed Tony.
Yeah.
And then Chaz ended up tagging along and winning that race. And then you guys went down. There was a spill. There was an incident other than 666, but there was an incident with you
there
involved.
There were a couple incidents. just like I feel that year, just like that race, it had some sinister energy to it.
Yeah.
Because R.I.P. Arilla, who left to another dimension within 2 weeks prior to race.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely had like a shifty moment in at least in a feel sense going into the race.
Everybody.
Yeah, and basically in the race when. As some people might know or not, we ended up missing a checkpoint, which was 666 Fifth Avenue, and it was I think 7 people who missed the checkpoint, and each one of us either fell, got a flat, stumbled. Like basically everybody ended up being disqualified. But we disqualified ourselves. We get to that later. And basically, there was a situation where we were in a pack with Chris, Pancho, was good amigo, carnal, I think that's how you say it. And basically, it was just like a situation where Chris tried to lose some people in the pack, and he made a turn and. Probably like Pancho didn't have space to go, and I was too close to him. I don't know. It was a very questionable situation, but I guess that's part of that thing,
Yeah, it happens in a tight pack.
And basically, I got my front wheel got cut, and I fell. And Jason Buckets, what up, homie?
What's up?
Where you at? Get back in the flow. And he spilled over me. And I got back on bike and just like bleeding out of my knuckles. I got the scars to prove it. And then basically I caught up to everybody, and Chris had 2 flats. Chris had 2 flats. You crazy mapa papa. And and basically it was like a crazy race. Towards the end, I was by myself, and I ran into Chaz. And Chaz, when we were already in Brooklyn by the last manifest, and Chaz was like, "Yo, Tony got arrested on the bridge." I was like, "What?" Imagine this intensity going into the last couple checkpoints, and we just talking about Tony being arrested, and it was like, "What? No fucking way! What? On the bridge? Okay, where's the checkpoint?" It's kind of it felt like conversation was like that. And so we went through the last couple checkpoints, and while going to the last one, we turning I think from Humboldt into Grand, going to Paper Box, and there's a e-bike, a delivery guy, just crossing Grand, and Chaz goes around, and I crash into the e-bike.
No.
Into his front wheel, and I jump back on it, but then
That was your first place right there.
But it wasn't.
What do you mean?
Because
See how it was? You missed.
Exactly.
You missed triple.
And
six,
then basically still I come in, and I think I'm 4th. Chris and Chaz battle out for 1 and 2 and so on. And then I think in 2 days or the next day, or 2 days later, I remember we were at with Chris at a bar, and everything was cool, and then I see Chris kind of was a little he noticed it, and because I think we were going through Instagram pictures of the manifests.
Yep.
And then Chris was like, we didn't go to 666. I was like, what you mean? He's like, we did. He's like, nope. He's like, no fucking way. And then it was it was the next day after everybody got the prices, everything, blah blah blah. And that's why we were like, did Chaz and Tony miss it as well?
Nope.
Exactly, And then
there's video footage of it.
Exactly, but it didn't
audio.
come out. It didn't come out yet.
Yeah.
Because I think you put it out on Tuesday.
Yeah, I did. I waited.
And on Friday, because we were talking for 2 days with Chris, I think if somebody can pull up the like history, that would be. I never texted so much with Chris that day. Like these 2 days, it was just like me and Chris going back and forth like for hours because we were thinking, how do you bring it out?
Yeah.
How do you tell these people just like in the most sane way? Because nobody noticed it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody noticed here and there, but it was not just like it would have probably come out like later. Somebody like would eventually
yeah.
But during the race, nobody figured it out, and that's why me both with Chris were just like, how do we put it? And that's why I told Chris, I was like, look, Stone's show coming on Friday, where we'll be this Friday. Yeah, actually, Stone Tone, what up? Catch us at Stone Tones, and we'll be entertaining you. And basically, then we waited for your video to come out because we thought, imagine if all of us missed it, then the whole top 10 doesn't change. Then you have to disqualify the whole top 10, And then we saw it, the whole thing. And
they mentioned it like, oh, we missed 666, and so we all went back. Like I followed them back to it, and they got it.
You see, first you guys missed it as well.
Yeah,
so that's the funny thing. And
well, those checkpoints were so close in Midtown area. There was like 2 that we hit on the way up.
Exactly.
I wasn't racing. That they hit on the way up, and 666 was like further over to the east. Yeah. And they just skipped it. I don't know who did the routing.
Exactly.
But
so yeah, and then Chris, I think he told Chas first. And then we kind of figured out all the places who has to be disqualified, and we went to Stone Town show with Chris, and we disqualified ourselves. Self-righteous suicide.
That's the best way to do it, man.
Exactly. For the culture. You see, for the culture.
Honesty.
Because for Russian kid from Chelyabinsk, you in New York, and you can contribute to this happening, you can only do it in honest and true way, represent.
Represent. Damn, man. 666, and that's not the first time that's happened, right?
I think so. The funny thing, like while me and Chris were going back and forth, I remembered the pedal documentary where a messenger named Jesus is talking about never wanting to go to 666 Fifth Avenue because that's the devil's office.
It's also a weird ass spot if you don't know where it is.
Yeah,
because it's not on Fifth.
It's like to the side, like on like 50 or something.
It's not on Fifth.
So we bring to a close the story of rigid control through the unceasing research and the highest quality.